Yes, thanks for the introduction. So I would start with bit of a background. So I'm basically not in esports. I'm a professor in systems engineering, so kind of a very traditional way. I'm very much interested in modeling, but I have also a background in coaching. So I have learned coaching, and that's always coming very neatly when you have students. I'm married, I have 3 kids, so I have some kind of idea about coaching in this area as well. And what I'm going to tell you about is a project that I have started, and this is kind of so we come closer into this in autumn. And the idea here is that I have worked a lot with the idea to teach real world skills. So we have the students and I teach them kind of all these technical skills. And I find out, yes, that's good to have, but they need something more. And we don't really have the places in our education for this. So I have always in this kind of first week of study, so then they get this kind of project management, time management, success technology, all these kind of things that you would need, but you don't get in the studies. And so when we started with the idea with the esports, I thought, isn't this kind of the right approach to go directly into the skills that we want to have? So what I'm going to tell you in this presentation is, first, I will talk a bit about kind of administrative things, how all this is supposed to be. And then I will give you the mini course in game dynamics of life, so that you can take this with you. So the first thing is, because I have studied brain research, I know that there's a difference between the relaxation in your brain and the relaxation in your body. And it is very important to be relaxed in the brain when you want to get in new information. And so for all my lectures, I tell the students in the first lecture that they have to bear with me. There's kind of an activity that you have to do often, and that's yawning. The best and easiest way of relaxing the mind is yawning. So it's like, you just yawn. And you can stretch, because the stretching gives you the relaxation in the body as well. So you have then both things there, and you will notice when you yawn, in one way or the other, your other thoughts are switched off. Kind of, you cannot really think when you have this. This is the relaxation that is in there. And I have also introduced something that you remember that this is to be done. It's like this. Then you can yawn and stretch. This is a very nice signal for me, because I have my slides and I have these, you can just remember, I'm teaching mathematics and these kind of things. So I have these slides with formulas and I have this sound in there, and then I go to the next slide and then this signal is coming and all the students, they yawn and I have to make this break in here. And this is kind of, it's really tempting. When you hear this, you will notice that this kind of, you are drawn into this. So that's something that you will hear something more. When we think of this kind of, we have people that play games, and then you have this kind of life. And it seems to be a difference, because we have the games, and then it's kind of, there's different rules that apply in life than we have in games. But if life was a game, then you would be interested in this kind of, okay, what is the game dynamics? How is it built? What is this? How is this game working? What is the player behavior? What can you expect of the players? What are the rules? What are the modes of winning? You want to win the game, of course. And then you would kind of try to adapt the rules to the liking, and then you would play the game. So that's the approach. And this is kind of my idea, was to say, okay, let's try to teach game in exactly this way. To say, okay, what we do is we say we have people that they are kind of very good, as we have heard. These are gamers. They understand gaming. They understand game dynamics, complex games with many players in there. So they understand this. And so when I tell you, okay, try to do this, and I give you an even more complex game. It's called Life, and I tell you all the rules, and then you would be able to play it. And that's kind of, this is what we, at the end, what we want. And this is kind of, how do we get the skills that help us to play this game of life? Because what we often see is we have these people that are very good at the games, and they are very bad at the real life. And that's not what we want. We want to say, okay, I give you the rules, and then play it. And this is for me very much related to these 21st or 22nd, whatever century skills this is. This kind of, you want to have these skills, and these skills are real life skills. Kind of, you want to relate to people. And you see, you see these kind of bold sentences. This is kind of how I have to define this a course at our university. These other ones I have tried to explain in a way that is kind of more gaming related. Okay, that's a challenge that I give you, these kind of things. So what is it that we need to talk about? So what we need to talk about is a lot of background things that you need to know. Kind of, okay, and this is you get. Of course, because I'm a modeler, so I bring modeling in, that has to be. But then otherwise you have psychology, philosophy, you have mental models, goal setting, planning, all these things that you need in real life. And of course, that's kind of, this is not far from a gamer perspective, because that's kind of something that you do anyway. I just put different names on it, and because I'm not really a gamer myself, I'm trying to translate this with the people that are in the gaming world to say, okay, how can we tell this in a way that is also appealing for the gamers? So when we have this in place, then the question is, do we need an exam? Very tricky question. So the first thing is, the university says, when you give ECTS, you need an exam. That's it. And then from my perspective, it's kind of, I'm not this kind of keen on exams, but I have to do it. In this case, I would say this is an exam where you have pass fail, so you can pass or you can fail. And in a way, it is not difficult to pass. If you just want to make it on the surface level, you can pass. I was reminded of a university where they taught this kind of artistic skills. And they said, you come into this university, you can learn, you can take courses, whatever you want. Then when you feel you are ready, you get proof that you have finished everything. So you can come in the first day, you can say, give me the proof, and then you go out and you have it. And this is for me also a bit of this approach. So if you take this course, you want to play live. When you feel you can do it already, I give you this proof. There's no problem. But you can come back if you feel, oh yeah, maybe I need to learn something more. And that's my approach. Try to say, okay, yeah, it's you. You want to learn something. If you don't, then don't bother me. Just I give you this proof. It's fine. It shouldn't be difficult. Go to ChatGPT, write some text, give it to me, and then I say, fine, then you are done. And I cannot tell this to our administration because they say, no, that's not good enough. You have to have a real proof. But I say, yeah, that's for my students. They have to find out what they do. What we do here is that this is kind of the students, they get topics, and for each topic they get a task. And the task is, in a way, exploring the game. So to say, okay, I tell you what is perspectives, then you get a task, which means kind of try different perspectives, see how the game changes when you do this, and then you write a reflection at the end. So that's kind of the type of things that that they work with, and they typically work in groups because it's much easier when you say, okay, let's do it together. So you are the one that is kind of the negative person, I'm the positive person. Let's have a day of this. How does it feel? And then we can talk about it, then you can write something. So now let's see how this works. What you can do in addition to just yawning is to kind of say, okay, settle down, collect your thoughts, and okay, what is it that I learned? What was important for me in the things that I have heard? So the next thing is we come to the game of life. So I tell you something about this game. So let's try. Ready? So life is a very complex game. And the good thing with this is you don't really need to pay. You are enrolled at birth. Some say even before that, but you are enrolled there. And there's even a team for the onboarding. So you have two buddies that help you to come into the game. And in the early game, the important part is that you get as many experiences as possible so that you get an idea of what this game is about. And your buddies help you. There is a game world, and you have very many different ways of looking at the game world. And again, you have the two buddies that help you to choose different perspectives. This is a very good thing because you have a starting perspective. It's also a bad thing because you are bound to this perspective. So that's kind of later in life, you have to learn to choose your own perspective, which is sometimes not that easy thing. This is also, in this context, you also find out because you have these different perspectives you can choose, that there's a possibility of choice. So you can choose a perspective which changes the game. And you can not only change it kind of once, you can change it basically whenever you want. This is a very neat feature in here. And you can also say that in a way, this is a game, in its essence, it's a game of choice. Some people say free will. So that's kind of, this is something where you can do something. So that's kind of the general setup. And then to get this game going, there is an underlying kind of basic game, which is called survival. This is, it's not really a game in itself. It's just like this, it's a kind of underlying current that is there. It's included in all the other games that you can play in life. And it's possible only to play survival. This is I don't like this only playing survival. You can do it. It's again a choice. But the thing that you have to remember is you cannot not play survival. And this is because you just get one life. And when you have just one life, so it can be, it's somewhat precious that you have there. And the basic rule for this subgame, that's kind of what you normally get the advice is, don't make stupid mistakes. So it's kind of it's very at the background. You can ignore it a lot, but when you are too stupid, then you have a problem. The thing is, there's documentation. I'm not sure if you know this. There's something that is called Darwin Award. Heard of this? So that's kind of, this is telling you what stupid choices you can make. And don't do this. It's kind of, it's not necessary because there's other games that you have there. So I think that's enough for this part. So let's go now we have now I'm revealing the big thing. So kind of, what is this game really about? And that's kind of the main game. What is it that you want to achieve there? What is the winning thing? What are the things there? And that's very simple. It's the main game is happiness. So what you want to have is happiness. That's kind of, this is, that is there. And the problem with this is when I tell you it's happiness, every one of you has a different idea what happiness is. And I have to warn you, it's kind of, it's very, this is a deep concept. It's not that you understand it immediately. So the thing is, happiness is not the same as joy. It's not the same as fun. There's kind of, there's a difference in there. Happiness is, the thing is, with the happiness is, you cannot, in a way, this is something that is existing now, in this moment. You can experience happiness on a certain level, and then it might be different in the next now, and in the next now. So you have different kind of things of happiness. So that means you cannot win it on a permanent basis, because you have to win it every moment again. Now there's something very, this is kind of interesting, because then you can play it all the time. Kind of, you can play this and you can play it and you can play it. And the good thing is, when you get into the right habits, then you can sustain a level of happiness. When you go in other habits, you can also sustain a level of unhappiness. That's kind of, there's lots of different things in there. And there's a lot of theory about this, how you do this playing and in there. And I don't really want to go in here, not here because we don't have the time, but that's kind of the main thing that is there. And what we have to remember is the thoughts and feelings and actions that you do on a habitual basis, they will influence this game. So that's it's as simple as that, and then you can tweak it in this direction. And the good thing is, when you are playing this game, then you can do the other games as well. And I have often talked about other games, and you might wonder, what are the other games? And I don't really have good names for this, so I call them mini games. Before that, we have to close this part. I have also this actual bowl. I don't bring it normally because it's much easier on the electronic one. And this it's going much longer than that what you hear here at the moment. So that's kind of. So yeah, I forgot this. So we are still on the main game, happiness. And there's a kind of, this is an individual game, the happiness game. But this is kind of it, you can extend it, I call it super game, because that's kind of about the collective happiness. It's not only your happiness, but the happiness around. Interesting thing is, when you want to work on your own happiness, it's very advantageous when you work on the happiness of others, because that has an influence on your own happiness. So there's something that, and you will find out when you work on a higher level of the happiness, that you cannot do it without the others. So that's kind of, it's implied, but I just wanted to name it here, because you might start with kind of, okay, I want to optimize my happiness, and I don't care for the others. But you will find out, when you want to optimize your happiness, the best thing is to optimize everyone's happiness. So that's there's a thing in there. So let's come to the other parts, the mini games. And there's just kind of 8 directions of mini games. There's many more. You have lots of mini games you can have in there. So you can have food, you can have exercise, all these kind of things, all of the mini games. You can play the mini games in addition to the main game. It's kind of, the main game is not that you have just the main game. You can also go to the other games. And there's a common belief that the mini games, when you master the mini games, lead you to mastering the main game. That's wrong. It's the other way around. When you master the main game, then you have an advantage for the mini games. There's lots of people that master the mini games and don't master the main game. It's very common. In fact, the mini games can be distracting. If you focus on these mini games, that can mean that you lose track of the main game, which is the happiness. So that's very important to separate them. And then you can imagine this is a course for 1 semester. I cannot go through all these mini games. I can give some rules how you can master these mini games, and that would be something. I have a separate course that is about success, and when you have the rules for success, that help you a lot with these mini games. There's another part that is important, that is that you have that you can handle connection to others. Connection to others is also it's not a mini game in itself, but it is a part of many of the mini games there, and there's rules for this. So that means what we look at and what is important to know here is to have this strategies. I call them success strategies that help you for the mini games. You would also want to have strategies for habits, because all of these and also the main game itself, they are based on habits. And habits is something that you get automatically. So that means you can work with them, and when you have a way of handling habits, then you have a way of playing these games. And then you have the strategies for social situations. That's kind of also these 3 blocks help you to play these mini games. We will go into 2 or 3 of these mini games in detail, but most of them is just like with these strategies. Maybe just I'm on the administrative level again. So we have some people at our university that work with some of these areas. So we will use them. For example, we will have one part about food, and because we have the people that research and work on food, so they will have this part and explain the rules that would be in there. I will have a hard time to tell them how to do this in a playful way. So, and what we also want to do is to say, okay, when you are interested in this and you want to go for, let's say, fun and recreation, or you go to business career, so then you say, okay, that would be a separate course. So you can go in there, would be a separate course where we explain this mini game in a more deep way. So, so this is a place where you can relax, and you can think of what is it that you have heard, what is the things that are important for you. That's also some of the things that happen when I'm a teacher, and I started with the idea, I know what I want to teach you. I have learned that's wrong. You learn what is important for you. I can tell you what I think is important, but when you look at this and when you relax yourself, then you will find the bits that can help you for the next steps that you want to do. So what is it that I wanted to tell you? So the question is life a game? And I don't really want to answer this. I can tell you that a gaming approach to life is very useful. It helps you a lot to handle the things, and it's also takes a bit of the seriousness out of life. Kind of say, oh yeah, we can try this. We can experiment. You might know this book, Reality is Broken, which says when you have played a lot of games, you come to reality, you find reality doesn't do it. I feel when you know the rules, reality is not broken. Reality is fun, and this is kind of the good way of going through it when you have the right rules. And when you really play on the right level and when you play the main game, that makes your life better and it makes all our lives better. And that's kind of the idea where we want to be. Thank you.